So there's a lot going on in the Fallout universe right now. A lot of news, a lot of leaks, a lot of rumors, a lot of new announcements, and not all of it, surprisingly enough, involves Fallout 5. A lot of the conversation actually involves Obsidian and New Vegas 2, and even a potential Fallout 3 remastered game. So there's just a lot to unpack here and a lot to cover for one video. So if it's a little bit convoluted here on the information, I apologize. I'm going to try my best to keep it as structured and as straight to the point as I can, so that we don't have a 2-hour video on our hands. What I'm going to start by doing here is just going all the way back to the very first announcements and statements and the very first bit of information that we have for ongoing Fallout projects, and then we're going to slowly work our way to the most current and up-to-date stuff, literally things that we're learning about this month. So as most of us probably know by now, Fallout 5 has been officially greenlit. Does that mean that the game is in production? No, not really. That just means that Bethesda has the green light to make the game, so they are preparing and moving in that direction. Now, of course, in the middle of all of this, we also know that Bethesda is actively working and really trying to get done The Elder Scrolls 6. I made a whole video covering all of that, but that is in active production. And that's aside from other things that we've already covered on this channel, such as Starfield updates and the potential making of a DLC for that game also. So they have a lot going on at once, which of course has a lot of people worried that we're not going to see this game for another decade type of thing, which I don't think is exactly true based on what we're hearing, but we'll get there. And that's not even to mention or considering all the layoffs that Microsoft is going through. I believe it was something like 9,000 people recently got laid off there. Now, if you're a big Fallout fan and that's all you care about, at least according to some of the rumors, this might actually be playing in your favor. A lot of the quote-unquote insiders and experts are very divided on what's actually going on here. On one side of the camp, some people think that this is just budget cuts with no real goal type of thing. It's overall negative and it's not going to redirect production or really affect any other of their projects in any positive way. This also comes with the very sad announcement that they've officially decided to cancel Blackbird, which was a MMO that they've been working on, I believe, since 2018. So that has been completely canceled. However, on the other side of the fence, I guess you could say more optimistically, a lot of people believe that these budget cuts now also allow Microsoft to redirect all resources to their main titles. One of those being, of course, Fallout. So what exactly is the plan for the Fallout franchise, and what do we know so far about Fallout 5? Well, let's go back all the way to 2021 when Todd first announced the quote-unquote one-pager concept for the game. All the way back 4 years ago is when Todd first announced that they were in fact gearing towards making the game. There was already a high-level concept there, but definitely nowhere near in production, but it was certainly in their mind. Then we go ahead and move about a year later, and at the 2022 E3, Todd Howard actually confirms that Fallout 5 is supposedly going to be coming out after The Elder Scrolls 6, and he lays out a little bit of a roadmap. However, he stays completely away from giving any sort of prediction or rough estimate as to when we should be expecting the game. And now it's kind of obvious, we've covered this in other videos, but they didn't even have any idea when The Elder Scrolls 6 was going to come out, let alone Fallout 5. We then skip ahead to 2024, and we don't hear a lot about the Fallout franchise. All that we know is that there was some sort of communication between Todd and the director working on the Fallout show, and there was a lot of things that were essentially asked not to be included in the show because they were planned for the actual game. And then we move to 2025, and this is where things are starting to get really spicy, and there's a lot of disagreement and nobody even knows what's true anymore. I don't think Bethesda knows. A lot of the reporters and a lot of very trustworthy insiders seem to be in heavy disagreement here about what's actually going on, which leads me to believe that nobody really knows. There's also speculation that Microsoft or Bethesda is feeding some of these reporters or some of these insiders not perfectly accurate information just to kind of keep the hype going. That nothing's really set in stone yet. They haven't actually decided anything, but they're trying to gauge public interest or public opinion before they actually make a decision, which makes a lot of sense. Now, this is where a lot of the information and leaks and rumors starts getting very convoluted, because we're getting announcements and claims left and right from different outlets from people that frankly aren't even insiders, so how do they even know about this? One of them being Jordan Midler from VGC, who as recent as literally this month has come out and made some very bold claims. Now, as far as I know, Jordan is by all accounts a quote-unquote trustworthy reporter. But this month he made some pretty big claims, and it doesn't seem like he has any sources, or at least he didn't mention what the sources are, and he was intentionally pretty vague about it. He tells us that supposedly Microsoft is working on multiple Fallout projects, and I quote him, "There are multiple Fallout projects in development, including, as far as I'm aware, that one you're all waiting for." He's obviously alluding to New Vegas. At least that's what I believe. There is now wide speculation that Microsoft has planned not only Fallout 5, but also New Vegas 2, and even a Fallout 3 Remastered Edition, kind of what we saw them do for Oblivion. Now here's the thing, this very well might actually be true, and it actually might be even closer to reality than one might expect. And I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but I think we need to really understand that this is, as far as we know, total speculation, and people are reporting it as news. Jordan, the one reporting on all this, with all due respect, is just a journalist. He's not really an insider or somebody that actually works at Microsoft or knows this for a fact. And people have been reporting this like it's actual news, like it's an actual announcement from Bethesda or Microsoft, and it's just not. He never elaborates on his sources, he is super vague, and again, he is not an insider or does not make it explicit that he does have insider information, so keep that in mind. With that said, even if this is not 100% fact, it's pretty well-educated speculation. And here's the reason why. It's because back in 2024, we heard this in an interview from Todd Howard himself. He publicly stated that they were considering giving the rights to another studio to work on a Fallout franchise spin-off or another Fallout game, and they cited Obsidian. He mentioned that they were considering potentially partnering up with them once again for another Fallout game, which, if you don't know, this is the studio responsible for New Vegas. He does acknowledge, and this is one of the few times I've ever seen him, be humble about this, or at least acknowledge that, yeah, Bethesda has way too much on their plate, and it's in full production for The Elder Scrolls 6 right now. He does mention, which we kind of already all know that, but it's interesting to see Todd say this because he never does, but he was humble about the fact that Bethesda has too much going on right now. He admits that the load on the studio is way too heavy right now because of the production of The Elder Scrolls 6, so potentially delegating to another studio would be a good idea. There are also rumors that Microsoft is fully in favor of this because they really want to capitalize on the success of the Fallout series, the show that's been out for a while now. But realistically, if Bethesda was the one working on this game, it probably wouldn't be out until like 2032. Like I would be creeping into my 40s type of thing by the time we ever saw this game. And like I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, because of all the layoffs and cancellations of their current projects and other things that they had going on, there is a wide belief that they want to redirect these efforts into their profitable and well-known IPs. One of them obviously being Fallout. Now, of course, on one hand, this is pretty sad. A lot of people are losing their job and a lot of games are getting canceled, but if you're a all-out Fallout fan, this might actually work in your favor. The people at Microsoft and Xbox are very much aware of the success and the hype around Fallout, especially after the success of the show. They know that they have an opportunity to capitalize on this. So frankly, at this point, it makes total and complete sense that Microsoft might want to delegate the Fallout series maybe even altogether to another studio. They're sitting on a pile of money that they know they should be capitalizing on, and they know that Bethesda is slow, and they know that if they leave it up to Bethesda, it's gonna take another decade probably. So it makes sense, and frankly, I would like that. I think it's pretty obvious that Obsidian has very much proven themselves. They know how to make a Fallout game. They gave us, in my opinion, the best Fallout game ever made. So I would love to see them working on any Fallout game, whether it's New Vegas 2, which is what I would love to see, but even if it's Fallout 5, it would be really cool to see that. In my personal opinion, I don't really think that we would see Fallout 5 being developed by another studio. We very well might, but it sounds like Bethesda has already been working on this, and maybe they don't really want to take it away from them. It could very well be the case, but Todd himself has already announced that the roadmap here is that immediately after The Elder Scrolls 6 would come Fallout 5. However, that is not to say that in the meantime we might not get a Fallout 3 remastered or also a Fallout New Vegas 2. I can totally see Microsoft doing that, and frankly it would probably be a really smart move because nobody feels like waiting another 10 years for the next Fallout game. So that game better be good. There's a lot of people that really resent Bethesda for how long it's been taking. A lot of people think that they're incompetent, that they've fallen off, and I don't share in all of these beliefs. I'm just acknowledging what a lot of people say, but a lot of people think that, and they feel that The Elder Scrolls 6 is Bethesda's kind of like last chance to quote unquote reestablish itself as reliable. So definitely a good idea for them to focus full effort on that. And I am, I love Bethesda. I wish that they were the ones working on the new Fallout game. I know that a lot of people at this point just despise Bethesda. They think that they're not trustworthy, that their production cycle is way too slow, and that they're an unreliable studio. That, in other words, they've fallen off. I'm a big fan of a lot of the games that Bethesda has made though, and I would love to see them really pull it together and be the ones to make Fallout 5 and really deliver on something that we've been waiting for a long time. But on the other hand, just being completely honest, Fallout 4 was not my favorite game. I didn't dislike the game. I like it a lot actually, but I don't love it. I love Fallout New Vegas. I liked it a lot more than Fallout 4, and a lot of people feel that way also. I don't think it would be a bad idea at all to let another studio develop the next Fallout game, especially Obsidian, especially if they work on New Vegas too. And as a matter of fact, the director of New Vegas has already publicly stated that he would love to work on New Vegas too, and he is very much willing. So I say, why not at this point? Otherwise, Fallout is not going to be a thing for another 10 years. Anyway, what does the future of Fallout actually look like at this moment in time? Honestly, like I said before, a lot of outlets are reporting on this stuff like it's news, like they're announcements, and they're not really. If you don't care about speculation and rumors, all that we actually know as of right now is that yes, Fallout 5 has been greenlit for production, so they are making it. But it's for sure nowhere near completion, and I don't think it's even in production yet. It's just been greenlit. That's literally all we know. They have the authorization to start working on concepts. They haven't really started doing it. We all know. I think a lot of these rumors are implanted, and maybe I'm being a little conspiratorial here, but they're known to do that. I think a lot of what we're hearing has been fed to different outlets and different reporters and whatnot, and purposely trying to leak stuff just to keep the hype going, just to keep people interested, kind of expecting a new Fallout game, getting the conversation going, kind of gauging the public sentiment. How do people feel about New Vegas? How do people feel about a potential remaster? How do people feel about Obsidian working on it? What is the public's perception of Bethesda? I think they don't really know what they're doing just yet. They haven't really decided. And that's probably why there's so much insider disagreement, usually sources that are very trustworthy. It's because, again, I don't really think that Microsoft has even decided what they're going to do. They're probably thinking about it. They just laid off a bunch of people. They're gauging the interest. I don't think that another studio or Obsidian is secretly working as of now on Fallout New Vegas 2. I don't think that that's what's going on. I think a year or two ago, Obsidian has even said that no, we're not working on it as of now. We would love to, but that's not currently happening. So I'm sorry to say, we're definitely not going to be getting New Vegas 2 or Fallout 5 anytime soon. However, if they do let Obsidian work on it, we might get it a little bit sooner, like in half of the time potentially, or less. If they end up letting Bethesda continue to work on the next Fallout title, the speculation is like 2030, 2032. So get ready for like another decade of waiting if that's the case. I don't think Microsoft is going to do that. I don't think they're going to sit on it for that long. It made sense when Bethesda was sitting on it. With the Microsoft acquisition, I don't think that that's going to be the case. They know what they have. You would think that the suits would want to make money. Honestly, we're kind of deviating the topic here, but it completely surprises me that they haven't done anything with it so far. I personally thought that when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, it was going to be like one Elder Scrolls game after the other, like Elder Scrolls Fallout, Elder Scrolls Fallout, almost to a Call of Duty extent, which would not be good. That's what I expected. I expected them to just milk it to no end, but they just haven't for whatever reason. So maybe they do just sit on it and don't do anything with it, because so far they haven't. So, who knows? I don't get the logic or the strategy behind any and all of that, but it sounds like they're very much aware that it's a thing and they want to capitalize on it. We heard it from Jez Corden himself. Jez has even publicly stated that Microsoft is aware of the hype around Fallout and that they're very much aware of the demand and they do want to make use of it. So they know. So hopefully it happens sooner than later, which would be wonderful. Anyway, sorry for rambling, but if you stuck with me till the very end, I thank you very much for your time. If you did in fact enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit it with a thumbs up because it does help me a lot. Also, if you want to see more videos like these in the future, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to be notified of every new upload that I make, don't forget to turn on the bell notifications. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care.